like, oh well, she gonna tell her uncle or whatever. That's
Yeah.
something different. Anything other than that.
Yes. Yo, what's
She
going
in
on,
college. Let
y'all?
the girl
How y'all
live.
doing today, man? We are here live in the kitchen. Guess what? We have some special guests today. And listen, we are glad to see you guys. We're glad to be with you guys. Listen, I hope you had a great weekend because I know I did. It was relaxed. Oh man, very therapeutic. I had a great time just relaxing. And listen, I'm so glad this is the best time of the week for me. And I guess for Lady T, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But listen, I'm glad to be here right now, guys. And listen, without a further ado, Lady T, tell them how your weekend was.
Weekend was good, relaxing, no complaints, moving right on.
Okay, all right, Rodney, how was your weekend?
Terrible. I had the flu. I was in the bed the entire time, barely moving. But I'm happy to be here now. I'm so happy. I woke up this morning and was like, thank you, Jesus, because I can, be on here. I'm healthy, alive. Got to play with my son today. Yeah, it was good times.
I like to hear that. Mel, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was great, brother. It was full of work.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm self-employed too. I do accounting, tax, and business consulting. So I've been slammed with tax returns and all that other kind of fun stuff.
All right. Look, we have Mrs. Miles. She's in the building, y'all. Listen, Mrs. Miles, she's getting her camera together. Mrs. Miles and Mel and Tiara, and of course Rodney, his special love. Listen, Tiara, how was your weekend?
It was good. Filled with a bunch of family love. It was a good weekend. I got to see my uncle, spend time with granddad, so it was a good time.
Okay, that's wonderful. Mrs. Miles, how was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. The weather was great, so no complaints from me.
I know that's real. All right, guys. Everybody sound like they're in good spirits. Hey, but listen, I know it's the middle of the day and it's 6:30, but listen, you know how we do up in here. Don't come down with that low energy. Let's get that energy up. Come on, bring that energy up. There you smiles. Lady T, let me see a smile. Let me see the white, pearly whites. There we go. All right, Mel. You looking so serious. Mel, you looking too serious. Rodney.
I'm laughing at you. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Don't you got a show to do? Come on, let's go, man. Let's talk about this stuff.
Listen, this is my comedian right here, y'all. He loves getting on my case, but it's all good. I love it. I love that energy. Come on now. All right. Listen, I do want to do some. I think I'll do it later because this is a good topic. Today's topic is brokenness. We all can relate to brokenness. We all can. Sometimes we have tough times dealing with brokenness, and it can overspill in your relationship, overspill in your life, work ethic, marriage. So as we begin to dive into this topic, sometimes it can be real tough to talk about. But we want to educate people on how to come out of brokenness, how to recover, and how to understand what it is, why you went through the brokenness, because it's something great that when you come out of it, you can look back into your life and you can understand, like, you know what, it made me a better person. It made me stronger. So as we begin to dive in this, I'm gonna let Tiara start us off. As you look at the topic, Tiara, what is the first thing that came to your mind? How did you, look at it, and what was the first thing that came to your mind?
So the first thing that came to my mind was the word disconnect. So when I think of broken, I think you're disconnected from the whole piece. So I like to put myself into that and think like, okay, if I'm feeling disconnected, I don't feel full. I don't feel like my old self. So really disconnectedness to me is basically what brokenness is.
Now, when you say disconnect, are you talking about relationships? Are you talking about family? What, like, can you elaborate on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, I think it's in every aspect of life, right? So if you say you feel broken financially, you don't feel whole. If you feel broken in your relationship, you don't feel whole. If you're feeling broken spiritually, you don't feel whole. So you have to find whatever that foundation is for you, go back there and to really rebuild and rekindle what that wholeness feels like. So that's what that means to me.
Okay. Mel, when you look at that,
can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, when I think about the word brokenness, I think about it. I always try to think about it from an empowering perspective when people ask me words like that. And when I think of brokenness, I think of humility and humbling oneself. You follow. A lot of times we think of brokenness as you're beaten up, you're battered, you're bruised, you're abused. Not always. A lot of times, brokenness means it's like something that needs to happen in order to grow and develop. So that's what it makes me think of.
Uh, Candy, how can you describe it?
Okay, brokenness for me, the definition for me is a void or incompleteness within you. That's what brokenness is for me.
Okay. Lady T?
Everything that everybody said is exactly how I feel about brokenness, but I also look at it as an opportunity for healing. It can be overwhelming, but there can be a profound healing and growth and transformation that can come from brokenness. So I think brokenness is a time of opportunity to reflect and look at self to see what it is that needs to be put back together, and come back into a wholeness. But it does have an opportunity for transformation.
Okay. Rodney?
All right, so I got a little bit of a longer thing. When I think about brokenness, unfortunately, I grew up with a lot of addicts in my house. So I think about the fact that a lot of times when you build your structure and you build it incorrectly, the only way that you can really rebuild and redo things is you have to break it all down. In other words, like when you hear as an addict that until you hit that rock bottom, until you hit that point that everything is that all the things that you felt like you're doing that was actually wrong, you have to destroy it all. You have to destroy it all, and you have to build it with the right foundation. And to me, brokenness is usually how God does that, because you have built it your way and you think that your way is the right way. Well, until that actually gets broken down, then you have to rebuild on God. And that is one of the things that that I had to go through. So that's what I feel about brokenness.
Okay. Tiara, can you explain to the audience, have you ever had that feeling of being sad and broken, or when I say broken, something that was real traumatic, and you now look at and you look at yourself and you say, you know what, wow, I overcame that. Is there something in your life that you can talk about that's not too private?
Yeah. Definitely. I would say, honestly, a lot of people don't think about this, but in college, that transition from being in high school to then becoming a young adult, I'm surrounded by so much temptation. I'm not sure who I am. So I felt broken, especially because I wasn't I wasn't accustomed to hearing a lot of no's, because in my life I had heard yeses. Oh, yes, you got the job. Yes, you got this. Yes, you got that. But then when I got to college, I started hearing a lot of no's. And for me, that made me think, like, am I good enough? Am I supposed to be here? So I definitely felt in a time period of that transition of where I was like, I don't know where to go. All these temptations. I don't know who I am. I don't know who to look to. I don't want to talk to my parents about it because they're not going to understand. Family's not going to understand. So for me, what kind of brought me back to feeling whole or to not feel broken anymore was definitely my relationship with God. I had to go back to that foundation, what my family poured into me. So going to church on my own and seeking Him to kind of help me rebuild exactly who I am, and to build that confidence and to build that love for myself, I was able to come out of that state of being broken.
That's so wonderful. Mel, what about yourself?
I would say that one of the experiences I went through in my life, I don't know if anybody else has ever shared this, where, I know personally, I've gone through a season where I've lost everything in my life once before. After losing a job, losing a home, losing a car, literally have to start all the way from the bottom to kind of come back up to the top again. That was a very humbling experience, definitely being a very functional man, being accustomed to doing and working and providing and taking care of things. That was almost like there were elements of that were very devastating to me. I didn't always outwardly show that because sometimes you still got to just get it done, got to produce, got to take care of business. You got a family to take care of. You got responsibilities and bills and things. So the brokenness that I feel that I experienced was actually life altering and life changing. I actually found out elements of myself that I didn't know existed. And I think that's always a good thing. I think we're not one-dimensional people, but we're most certainly evolving and growing and developing and maturing, and that should happen throughout one's life. But definitely, brokenness is necessary. It's a necessary part of life. No, we don't always like going through it. No, if you knew that you were going to go through a fire or go through a major life-threatening illness and things of that nature, you'd probably second guess that and probably tell God no. But the thing is that is actually what really makes who you really are, and it shows you what you're really made of.
Lady T, how about yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody, every single person on earth will go through a time period of brokenness because we all have our own journey that we think that we know how to put together in life, and we're going to do it the way we want. And then we fall, and then that brokenness comes. And, that is humility time. That is time where you are able to take yourself to say, this is where I was. I have to be here, and you have to assess to find out what's next. But, you do have to come out of big ego. You do have to be humble. You do have to learn how to grow. There's something about it that brokenness can be repaired if done in the right way. So brokenness is a part of everybody's life. We as people are humans. We came here for an experience, and the experience is to learn and to grow and to mature. And only way to do that is to go out in the world, be about your business, and don't be afraid and make mistakes. You will fall, you will stumble, but get back up.
Candy, what about yourself?
Okay, let's see. Overcome brokenness or dilemmas?
No, yeah, brokenness. I mean, look, hey, just let some people. I mean, let the audience know, not without being so deep and personal. Some of the trials and tribulations of your brokenness, how you overcame it. What brought you to the place you are today? I mean, just a small piece of it. Whatever you want to tell us, like.
Okay, so I say, well, my trials and tribulations to get me to my journey is, growing up, my father died when I was a youth. I was like 14 years old. So that was a major brokenness for me. I experienced divorce. That was a major brokenness for me. So, I mean, just going through life. I mean, but we all overcame and we're here today. So
how do you overcome it?
Shoot, through prayer, through friends and family, venting to one another. I mean, and the biggest thing, having faith. I mean, because when you're in a I say it's the sinking place. But when you're in that place, you gotta have faith and you gotta stay prayed up, and you really have to talk to someone. I know when I talk to my family and friends, I mean, they give me different perspective and really help me look at things a different light.
Okay, Rodney.
Well, through my life, I've gone through several moments of brokenness. I really actually consider brokenness also a moment of transition. It's a time that God is breaking you down to bring you to the place that you really need to be next. Like everybody's kind of mentioned that. Tierra mentioned that she's in a moment of transition right now in college, where she's now becoming an adult. Mel mentioned that he went through the tradition of losing everything and rebuilding from the beginning, and even in Candy, the same thing. The same thing is for me. I own my own business. My business partner sold a portion of my business behind my back. I had to then sell my business and start all over. there was a point of that it was a moment of brokenness for me. You know what I'm saying? And I had to really, at that point in time, I turned to alcohol. And then alcohol became the thing that was supposedly getting me through. But you know, that wasn't the real thing. And then later on in life, and even right now, you watch my podcast is a week by week of watching a transition go through. Since I met you, Chef Dennis, and everything, you know, I've stopped drinking alcohol. I've stopped doing this. I've stopped doing that. I've changed the way I think. That's because right now I'm in a moment of rebuilding. I'm in a moment of rebuilding, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it the right way, and allowing God to show me which way to go. I'm sorry, am I? Y'all are hearing me?
You broken up a little bit, or is that just my computer?
Just you.
That's just you.
Oh, okay. Wi-Fi.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but I mean, brokenness can be a bad thing if you let it. But I always feel like there's that moment of brokenness is when God is really going to take you where He wants you to go. If you allow Him to do it, if you don't try to control things and do it your way, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I am right now, even as we speak in this moment in life. So I'm not nearly as broken as I was back when I lost my business, because I know that God has me, and God got me through that. I know He's going to get me through this. So, you know, it's just something that I really feel that it's at the end of it, at the moment you're in it, it feels like it's a very terrible thing. But once you get through it, as long as you let God guide you, you know, it's going to be actually something awesome, because you're going to be in what you're going to be in. I'm trying to remember the word that my co-host used yesterday, but you're going to be in that moment of where God really wants you to be, you know. So there you go.
Now I didn't say anything, but as we dive into the brokenness for me, it's like this. You think about it. Sadness is part of brokenness. And sadness will put you in a place of depression, put you in a place where you put yourself down, you low self-esteem. But you know, how do we get out of those places, those dark places? And if it's nothing but God, and if you don't have a relationship with God, that's the place where you need to be. That's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to overcome the obstacles of your life. And sometimes we don't see God sometimes. And that's where I think that's where the growth begins, because God wants to use everybody. He wants to use everybody. And so sometimes when we're in that dark place, we don't want to hear God's voice. And guess what? God allow us to go to certain things so we can grow. You know, it's not, we all six of us, right? Well, 7 of us, we all go something different. You know, and in that journey, it's different because you are different, and God wants you to grow and be the best version of yourself. And like myself, you know, I've been through divorce, right? And divorce have made me cultivate me into be a better person, a better loving person, a better communicator. You want to say something, Mel? Mel, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just scratching my beard.
A better communicator, a better a person of understanding. Also, even in this platform, I'm very transparent. Always say, have an open mind, right? And I hear that. So I said, you know, I have to have an open mind. It can't be one way. It can't be just one track thinking. It has to be open minded. It has to be, you have to be transparent. And you can't be transparent. You can't have an open mind if you're in that sunken place. Like Candy said, you can't, you're in tunnel vision, and you don't want to be in tunnel vision, because then you can't hear nobody. You can't hear God's voice. You can't hear the people who's trying to build you up and pour into your life. You just want to push everybody out, and that's where the brokenness starts. But that's where it keeps you. It keeps you down in the dark place where you can't hear nobody. And you know what? Drinking, alcohol, sex, all these things will keep you down in those places. And guess what? And I say this with true love. They're like, you have to come out of that. You have to come out of that dark place, and God will lead you out of that. And only if you touch his hand and allow him. And that's spiritual talk. I'm not talking about just natural. I'm just saying you got to allow God to bring you out, because guess what? In brokenness, it comes with strength. It comes with endurance. It comes with overcoming. It comes with outstanding, relationships. And that's where it starts. That's where it begins. And you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to navigate in your life. Like Lady T always say, everybody's journey is different, and you have to learn how to navigate in that. And when I was going through my divorce, I was in that place. I was drinking, getting drunk, going to the strip clubs, doing everything, just wilding out, because I lost myself. But what kept me rooted was my relationship with God, is my relationship that I had with my family, the family that's in my life now, the family that was in my life then. They were there, always trying to encourage me, always trying to talk to me and give me the insight and say, listen. And it wasn't always about God. It was about telling me the things that I need to hear, help me overcome the obstacle, overcome because that was one of the biggest things for me, was a divorce. All my whole life, I saw just marriage, family, whatever. I didn't see the dark side of that. Even if it wasn't perfect, I didn't see that. All I saw is family, married. That's all I knew. So, that's why I always talk about marriage, and I'm big about marriage. And I want, people to understand marriage is work. It's something that you have to be dedicated. You have to be focused, and you have to, surrender unto that person as well as to God. You got to give. You got to be submitted to that person. Submission to both, not just a man submission, no woman, no, both have to be truly committed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm big on those things. And I just want to, I say all that because that's how I overcame my brokenness. That's how I overcame the shadow of death, the shadow of the sin. You know what I'm saying? The dark side, because I was in a dark place. And that's, when I talk about brokenness, that's what I'm talking about. That black hole. Because when you're in that black hole, guess what? If you don't try to make your way out, you'll be stuck in it.
But Chef Dennis.
Yes, talk to me.
When you was in the black, okay, I'm going to speak for myself because I don't want to use your narrative. But when you in that brokenness, you don't know you in that brokenness. You are just there. You don't know you broken. I don't. No, I don't. I didn't. That's what I said. I didn't know. But see, only I can speak about the brokenness when I overcame and I came out of that hole. And I looked down. I looked like, oh wow, I was there. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm speaking on the fact that I know I was there, because now what I look back at my life, wow, I know that I did all those things. Now I can speak from overcoming that being in that black hole, being in that dark place, because I overcame. If I never overcame, I would never, like you're right, I would never knew that I was in that sunken place, that black hole, the hole of destruction. Yeah, because I was just speaking for myself, because I didn't know. I mean, it takes some time where you do work and you transition. You don't know you in that actual place. You like, look, that statement is true. Hurt people do hurt people. And I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh, it won't be me. It won't be me. That's how I was moving. It won't be me. But you got to look back at right. It. I was, oh no, that wasn't right. Because that's not even my personality.
And also, go ahead, Ronnie. Go ahead, Ronnie.
No, I was agreeing with her. No, when you are there, you it's crazy because you don't know you're there, but you in some type of feeling, you still want other people to feel hurt because you're hurt. You want other people, or you give off that aura because either you're not complete inside, you're angry inside, you haven't resolved the things that are going on with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people do that is because they haven't resolved something, they outlash on other people. Whatever the feelings are that they feel inside. If they're angry, then they want to make other people angry. If they're sad, then they want to make other people sad. If they're hurt, then they want to hurt other people. So no, I was just agreeing with you. That's all.
And as we talk about this, we all look into our lives, this personal life. Your life is personal, but look, here's the thing. Just look at your relationships with other people. how your relationship is with other people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's key too. You got to look back into your life and see, can you communicate well? Are you a communicator? Are you like, you like to be to yourself? And then when you're by yourself, are you communicate with someone that you can trust? Because guess what? Nobody likes to be alone. Some people do. I just want to say that because I don't want nobody to be offended. They like to be alone. I don't know, but
Well, I also feel that people transition.
Lady T, that was to you, Lady T.
We knew that. We knew that, but Lady T, I wasn't going to since he put a shot at you, Lady T. I love shooting. I love shooting back, Lady T, because he was the one that said that he was open-minded, and I didn't know who that was. Mm-hmm. I was like, I ain't even say nothing because we got company, but I was totally shocked when he said he was open-minded. Mm-hmm. So I'm still we're gonna let that go.
Hold up, you wasn't listening?
Wait, Rodney, his alter ego is open-minded.
hold up. Yeah, you wasn't listening? You wasn't listening?
Apparently we met the open-minded Chef Dennis that he's so proud of. Yeah. I don't know that guy.
Oh, wow.
But, we're going to go ahead and keep on going. No, we got a show. Go ahead. This your show, sir. I'm sorry. Don't let me take it.
Mel, you want to say something? Yeah, this we do, Mel. We laugh. We have a good time here. Go ahead, Mel. Go ahead, elaborate on something.
No, I'm just enjoying you guys on tonight. I like freestyle conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very authentic. It's very pure. It's from the heart. And no, I'm just enjoying myself. I'll chime back in. Just keep talking.
Okay. So let me say something since you came at me. Okay. There is a time when people need to grieve their loss, their disappointment, their trauma. It's a mourning time. There's a time when you have to separate yourself from the world or people and have your grieving, because this sadness, sometimes, brokenness has a reason that we just might not understand, that you have to take a step back and just really be by yourself and reflect, go to God, do whatever it is spiritually healing to do what you need to do for yourself without anybody, or other stuff out there to kind of influence you. So, being alone is necessary. You need you come to Jesus moments when you're, quietly with Jesus, God, whoever it is that is your savior, to put whatever it is you need in your life. You need those times. But, disconnecting from people, you have to seek connection. You have to have no isolation to last forever. So I understand that. But there is a time for everything where mourning has to happen, where you just are grieving and you take your time to have your healing process.
Of course, yeah. That we definitely. I think we all agree to that. When it's time to mourn, it's time to mourn. But we don't say sit in that, forever. Right. Right. Like you said, when you get hurt, when somebody hurts you, you got to heal from that. It depends on you as the individual how long it takes for you to heal from that. Whether even if in mourning, it depends on you as the individual. How long do it take for you to be healed from that sadness? Because at the end of the day, everybody deal with sadness differently. Everybody deal with mourning differently. So yeah, definitely. And sometimes it is. I was joking, but sometimes it is important to be by yourself, because guess what? When you have a lot, even the positive people that's in your life, when you have those positive people, sometimes they're distracting because you can't focus on your task that's at hand. You know what I'm saying? So it's good and it's important to be by yourself sometimes. And that's why when God says pray, find the quiet place. Just you and him. That's it. Nobody. I mean, and when it's praying with others, yes, but sometimes you have to have that intimacy with God that's private. That's just you and God, and you listening. God speaking to you, and you just listening, and that you can hear him crystal clear. So yes, it is important to sometimes be in your quiet time just by yourself. So I would just
let me add to that too. So I said earlier, it's all about transformation, and it is all about transformation. We're going through a stage in life with the world that we are transitioning into new age. I'm going to say new age because ages change. Time is changing. So we're going into a new life, and people are rattled. People are fearful. people are discomfort. And you have to know how to get out of that transition. I think self-compassion is very important, embracing the vulnerability of what you're going through. I mean, we need to allow ourselves to be honest with ourselves about what it is that we're going through, see our flaws and things that we need to change, and be about a business to make that, change, whatever it may be. Everybody has something different, but that is our time to engage in healing in ways that we can connect with God, our source, to know that where we are going in the direction, we're trusting him, whoever that is going to provide. That we have to have some faith. There is so much brokenness in the world and confusion that people do not know how to connect with the higher source to heal themselves. And you have to do it alone. You will have to walk this path alone. You will die alone. You came in this world with yourself alone. You might have had a twin or whatever. Point is that you will have to be about your mind, and healing and transformation and brokenness is something that is a reflection time that people need to really embrace the vulnerability of themselves. And vulnerability is very hard for people that have big egos, people that are, all about themselves and don't know how to give to another, or really not compassionate, don't have any real mind to help another person or serve another person. So, I think that that's really important for us as people today in this world.
Tiara, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think overall, just what everybody has been saying, it kind of made me think of a quote. God will never give you a life where he's not needed. So just thinking about that, and just thinking about when people feel that brokenness, and like Lady T said, you need to be able to sit in that, be vulnerable, give yourself compassion, because you have to have that connection with him and understand why you're going through it. And you might not understand at that time, but that is the time where you are going to find growth. That is that transition period. So sometimes you're going to have to go through something so that way you can come out, because he's not only going to bring you out, he's going to bring you through. So that's what
each one of us have a different journey, a different walk. And we do have to really look back and look at our parents, grandparents. We all are different. And each one of us have a different journey. But I can tell you this, no matter what, this journey that we on right now, we're lined up with God want us to do right now. Sitting the six of us, seven of us, or the six of us, I'm sorry, us in here right now, we're lined up what is supposed to be for our lives. Each one of you, have something great that's going on in your life, and we're doing something to the world. They may come back and look at it, come back and see what they can take from it. So what we're trying to do is create an atmosphere, create a safe place where we can talk about things like this and not people be offended, but because of what we're talking about, because sometimes this can get real touchy with some people, because we're telling about God and we're talking about how God can bring out. Some people don't understand what God can do for them because they don't believe in God. They don't want to believe in God. They don't want to believe that there is something higher than just living on this earth. They just think they can just do what they want, say what they want, and then no consequence, no repercussions, no nothing. And so we are presenting to the world that this is a place where we talk about things like this, and we want you to be encouraged, and we want to continue to encourage people, because there are a lot of people in the world, like Lady T said, that are broken. They're in this dark place of deception, manipulation, and that's where the trick of the enemy gets you down in that place, and it tells you things that may seem good, sounds good, but it's tricked your mind, manipulated your mind. We always talk, Lady T and myself, she always talks about manipulation, and that's where, if you're down in that place, that's where you could be manipulated. I'm talking about the brokenness. I'm not talking about the brokenness of sadness. I'm talking about the brokenness of a failed marriage, a failed relationship, a relationship with your brother, your sister. It always bothering, it's always pricking at you. These are the things that get you to that place of sadness, and that sadness can make you do something that you may regret, say something you may regret. And so we're trying to say, listen, come out of that. Come out of that feeling. You want people in your life that's going to pour into your life, not take from your life, add to your life. And when someone adds to your life, they add in prosperity, they add in joy, they add in happiness, they add in peace, they add in all those things to your life, not taking, because guess what? When the moment that they're saying something negative in your life, you know, they taking your time, they taking everything from you, they taking your mind from you. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the manipulation comes in, is your mind. And then once your mind is manipulated, then your heart is tainted. It's poison. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to look at those type of things like that. In this world we live in, Lady T, right?
Agree.
Well, what I was going to say is also the real confusing part is once you get into that place of brokenness, you know, the devil wants you to stay there. He don't want you to get out of it. And as soon as you start going to God, that's when the temptations are going to come. That's when the things to confuse you or to really make you go down, or the attacks are going to happen, because God doesn't want you to come out of that brokenness. I'm not God, but the devil does not want you to come out of that brokenness. He wants you to stay there. And if you're in that brokenness and you doing the things like going to the bar every night, drinking, going to the strip club, this, that, and the other, then you good. You know what I'm saying? He happy. So he ain't messing with you. He ain't tempting you. But I found that when I'm coming out of the brokenness and I'm on the brink of where I'm really about to arrive to where God wants me to go, or the next step of my journey, that's when the devil attacks. That's when the temptation comes in. That's when all these other things start coming out of nowhere to distract me, to change my mind, to get me moving in a different direction. Instead of, if I'm going right, the devil wants to make sure that I turn and go left. You know what I'm saying? And it's difficult. You know, it is really difficult at that point, because the temptations are always the quick fix. You know what I'm saying? It's always the quick thing to make you just be distracted and go in a different, that quick satisfaction of being at the strip club and all the women want you, and, or, you know, drinking to the bottle to the point that you don't even remember what the problem was in the first place. And those, to me, that becomes the real difficult part of coming out of brokenness, because if you're going in the right direction, the devil is going to do everything to try to make sure that you turn around and go back to where you were.
Well, let me say this about that, Rodney. I think that we are very hard on ourselves. We need to have more self-compassion, because, you know, shame can come up if you allow the temptation to say, oh, I slipped up. You know, I didn't do it long enough. I messed up. You know, the shame can come. And, you know, I think that what we need to do is learn to have self-compassion enough that we are saying, give ourselves enough grace that we can make a mistake and get back up. Because little by little, you cannot leap far if you never practice. You have to practice daily on whatever it is that you are trying to conquer in life. Temptations are there to make you stronger. Temptations are there to keep you on your toes, to know how to maneuver whatever the situation is. You have to know how to do it the right way, and you will have different routes that will come. But having self-compassion to say, you know what? I didn't do it great this time, but I'm going to do it better next time. I'm going to pay attention next time to how it could be, you know, or you could say something that could just be like, I gave myself a little, you know, break on it, but a compassionate self to say that you are worthy enough to have grace and compassion on the mistake that you made, and you're going to do better. That's what I think we need to learn how to do when we deal with temptations, because temptations are going to come, and you're not always going to, you know, check the mark and say, I passed that.
I get that, but a lot of times you think the temptation is the great idea. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it's not. No, temptation comes with self-control. No, because that's the key to it. It's control, self-control. Because guess what? The flesh will tempt you. The mind, because so that's why it's your walk. And that's where you're tested at. So you have to watch your walk, how you walk in life. Those are the things that the enemy trick you. Because you say temptation, it's self-control. Because guess what? I'll tell you, I had a problem with back in the day watching pornography. Why? Because I lived a life going out, this having this desire and this want. So guess what? I was tempted because of those desires that I had. But now I'm not tempted. I'm not, because I got a wife, because guess what? I know that can alter my mind, alter my thinking. So guess what? I can't be tempted that way because now I have self-control.
But you did not leap to that level. You had to take baby steps. And that is the point. Self-control comes with practicing.
I realize
self-control.
Huh?
Self-control comes with practicing.
No,
you
not practicing.
Practice.
Not
yes,
practice.
You have to. If you think that you're going to have self-control over every single thing that you want to change in life immediately, just like that, it don't work like that. That's not how life will work. Working towards your goal means that you have to do it over and over, repetitive times.
But you know you could be tricked.
Of course you can. It's like it's a test of life.
When you tricked, when you tricked, right? Mm-hmm. When you're tricked, right? That you don't have no conscience of that sometimes. You're tricked. So you're manipulated. So if someone manipulates you, guess what? Consciously, you like, oh shoot, now you realize I did that. So guess what? You'll be the fool to go back there and do it again. You're constantly doing that. That's a habitual offender. You keep doing that. So guess what?
We're not saying that. We're basically saying you can be tricked into doing things. You can be tricked into, going into the temptation, but then you learn your lesson. You will know how to maneuver the next time. That is what I'm saying. Self-control comes when you have a revelation and understanding of the situation. It has to have meaning. Self-control can only come when there's meaning in the heart and the mind of whatever the situation may be. That is when you know that you will be able to have self-control, because that it only takes, a realization. It's like when you realize what you did and you shouldn't have done, then self-control can come together. It's like, spirit and soul are saying, we're connected on this and we're going to move forward and upward.
So did anybody want to say something?
Oh yeah, I want to add something.
Go ahead.
Y'all got me fired up a little bit. All right. But no, I was going to say that what we should be really striving for is consistency and balance. Okay, when it comes to these type of things. One, if I ever hear anybody say I ain't perfect, the thing is that we are not perfect. We are subject to error. We will have temptations, we have flaws, we will fall, we will miss the mark, we will not measure up. It happens. The goal is to learn from the experiences, and not only learn from the experience, what is the value that God has placed in this to help me reach my destiny and purpose. Follow? So like when we talk about the concept like brokenness, that was kind of the main concept, the main thread of this conversation about brokenness. With brokenness, that's not only meant for you to feel sadness or shame or whatever other feelings that come with that. But the thing is that it is meant to empower you. It's meant to build you up. It's meant to broaden your horizons. One of the things that God had to share with me, because I'm a man of faith as well. So the thing is that when I look at pain and suffering and brokenness and going through, I'm not looking at it as, why me? Why this? Why now? I had dreams. I had aspirations. I had goals. I have people I'm trying to meet, places I'm trying to go. No, the thing is that I'm going through these things for other people. A lot of times I'm kind of the one that's being crucified for God to be glorified. You follow? Yeah. So the thing that is not necessarily about me, the going through is not necessarily about me. It's about the people that I'm called to. It's that the people that God designed and have intended for me to reach. Because the thing is that we all have a very, in your case, Terrell, it's almost like in the cooking and culinary environment, you got some people that would never hear about church or never hear about God or never hear about relationship with God, that I would never be able to reach because of the fact I have my own sphere of influence. You follow what I'm saying? So it's almost like knowing your lane and knowing your place and staying in your lane and doing what you are called to do. I'm not here to do what the other guy's called to do, or what you're called to do, or what any of these ladies are called to do, in that regard. So the things I have to always look at it is that I'm learning as I'm going through these experiences to be content, to be patient, you know, because God's trying to work some things in and out of us when we're going through. So what is the revelation God is trying to give to you about what you're going through? You are a vessel that he is using to be a blessing to other people. Follow? So that's how I try to always kind of look at going through. That's also a sense of encouragement. Sometimes, like how the Bible says how David encouraged himself. This is one of the manners and ways in which I learned to encourage myself, because there's going to be people that's not going to always be there. Mm-hmm. You have sometimes your mother may fail you, or your father may disappoint you, or your family may turn their back on you. Your best friend may stab you in the back. What are you going to do? That may be a point of brokenness for each individual on this line, or we all have experienced that to some point. But the thing is that, learning to be consistent, learning to be faithful, learning to be long-suffering, and learning how to endure. You have a lot of people who are just very weak-minded, or just, very the why me, the why this, the why that. And you're going to have to go through a little something that toughens you up. Most certainly, we want to be empathetic. It's not a broad brush for everyone. We want to be empathetic. We want to be sympathetic. We want to be understanding. We want to be gracious. We want to be merciful. We want to have those things, but we want to be balanced with that, So that's all.
Ooh,
beautiful. That was beautiful.
Candy, you quiet today. What's going on?
No, I'm just taking in all this resources and information in this organic conversation.
Okay, all right. Rodney, so quiet today.
I ain't saying. I mean, we got a lot of people here, so I'm giving. I want everybody to put in what they got to say. I do feel that you and Lady T were both making the same point, just two different directions. Lady T, I do believe that yes, you do have some things do take time. Some things you're going to have to practice. You will make mistakes and things like that, but I mean, it's going to get you to that point where finally it's time to stop. Like it's not anything. It's I've been on the show and I bring this up because this is the most recent thing that I've been battling, and that's alcohol. But just like when I shared that with y'all on the show that I was no longer drinking, the next day, what did I send you, Chef Dennis?
Somebody bought a more big bottle.
Yeah. The very next day, I wake up in the morning. The very next day after I say it in here, I got a bottle of tequila sitting at my front door in the bag. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing.
Surprise.
And it's nothing but and that's exactly that's what I'm talking about. When you're on that precedent, that's what the devil does. You know what I'm saying? Because I told y'all I wasn't doing it, and it took me practice. Like before I made the announcement to y'all, I didn't buy alcohol. And I said I won't bring alcohol into my house. I started there. Then it was just drinking out with my friends. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. But then I just got to the point, like, why am I tiptoeing with this? You know what I'm saying? Why am I doing this? I'm done. Like it's where God's been leading me for a long time. It's the whole thing I've been dealing with for a long time. I'm done with it. And then you get done with it. But so I believe that both of y'all were making, the same point, but sometimes you just got to cut it off. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, sometimes you can't practice it. You know what I'm saying? And if your issue is going to the strip club and messing with the wrong type of people, you mess around too many times, now you got a baby. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just got to cut it off. And so, I mean, I just feel like, both of y'all were making the same point, but for me personally, I just feel like I said, I feel like it's a moment of transition. I feel that most people are transitioning throughout their age anyway. So there becomes a point where everybody, like, you're not doing the same thing. Like, for instance, Tierra, she's not going to be doing the same stuff in college that she was doing in high school. You know what I'm saying? Once she gets out of college and graduates and gets into her career and starts doing her career, you're not going to be doing the same thing you was doing in college. You know what I'm saying? Me as a 45-year-old man, I'm not doing the same crap I was doing as a 20-year-old. So there's always going to be transition in your life. And sometimes you got to go through things to really get to the real purpose that you are here for. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I am right now in my life is I'm trying to figure out what my purpose is. Why, because I believe, this is only what I believe, and I'm not telling anybody else to believe this, but I believe that everybody here on earth is here for a purpose. There's a reason that God has you here. And you go through these things to get you prepared for that reason, for that purpose, for whatever that thing is. And I'm ready for my purpose now. It took me all the mistakes I made throughout the years, and now I'm ready to walk in my purpose. I'm ready to be there when God calls me to do what I need to do. And guess what? I had to go through a lot to get there. You know what I'm saying? I had to go through a lot to get there, and that's the reason why now I have the faith that I do, that I'm open. I'm like, here I am, God, wherever you want me to go, I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go, and I'm working. I want to start working towards that purpose. So that's just something I'm sharing. So, there you go, Chef.
Say it again, Candy.
No, that was great. But I do have a question. What steps did you guys took to get out of your brokenness? Because I know I had to do a lot of self-assessment for myself to look within and say, hey, what did I do wrong? Go ahead, Rodney.
I'll tell you, for me personally, the best thing I ever did was have a Christian counselor and a Christian, and I mean, the things that we broke down and the things, let me tell you something, learning about your flaws is so empowering, because once you know yourself, then you can't be tricked anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because the devil used those flaws to trick you. In my opinion, so I'm just going to tell you, for me, I talk about this all the time on my show, okay? I have abandonment issues. Like you, Candy, my father died when I was 11 years old, okay? I saw him that morning. I talked to him that morning. An hour later, they came and picked me up from school and told me that my father was dead. And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it. Until the age of 18, I still thought he was coming back. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he's going to come see me. I started playing football because my dad liked football. I started doing all these things that my dad liked, because I was like, look, if I do these things, then my dad will come and see me. He'll come and watch me play. You know what I'm saying? And this is just a childish mind. That insecurity of abandonment was ruining my, and then also I started drinking at a young age too. So that was my coping mechanism, was alcohol. So to start with that, coping mechanism, alcohol, abandonment issues. But abandonment issues played such a bad thing in my marriage. Even though I'm still married, I have a beautiful wife. I've been married for 26 years. But I didn't realize that every time my wife went out of town, I would start a fight with her. I would in a nasty fight, say whatever I had to say. And then as soon as she went out of town, I'd hit the bar and drink myself until I blacked out, because I didn't want to cope with the fact that she was gone. And that was all something that had to deal with my childhood. And the greatest thing was when my therapist broke that down to me and explained to me, he was like, you have abandonment issues. This is why when your wife goes, you argue. This is why you feel the way you feel. This is why the things. And once I got that knowledge, and don't get me wrong, and I'm going to tell you this too, I still struggle with it, even with the knowledge, because I thought I was good. And the last time that I had my drunk binge was because my wife went out of town. My wife went out of town, and I thought I was okay. Went and hung out with my friend. Next thing you know, I'm blacked out on the floor, throwing up. You know what I'm saying? And I woke up the next day and said, I'm done. I can't live this life anymore. You know what I'm saying? That was my rock bottom. So it's all about getting, in my opinion, having somebody there and really self-evaluating yourself. You know what I'm saying? Self-evaluating all the things, and why did you do this? Why did you respond the way you did? And once you get that power, once you get that knowledge, it is very empowering. So that is how I got through.
Thanks for sharing.
Can I add something to that? Thank you for bringing that question up, Candy. I know it was about 2 or 3 things for me that got me out of that place where out of suffering all that loss and things of that nature. Was that one, it really forced me into a real relationship with God, not church going, not just saying religious things or saying the right thing, but a true relationship with the Lord where you literally can bare your soul before him and really be honest with yourself. If you going through should really bring the truth of your life to the surface. Follow. If you're an ugly person, if you're a nasty person, if you're mean, if you're you bring harm to yourself, you know, you're always saying a contrary word, you gossip, you this, you that. It should bring all of that ugliness to the surface because of the fact that that's when you're really dealing with the real issues of your life and you're able to get that stuff out the way, mature and grow, and really get into your God-given destiny and purpose because it's beyond ourselves. One of the things I talk to my clients about in my business is that when I talk about business consulting and stuff like that, is that I said, one, if you run the business, you need to know who you call to, what you're called to do, and who you are called to. When you go through, especially major life-altering and traumatic events, there's a reason why God specifically chose you and why he chose to take you through that to reach your destiny and purpose. It's not just by no happenstance. It's not just because he has nothing else better to do. There's some things he has to allow, not just because you're disobedient. No, that's kind of immature. Not just because you're disobedient, but know where I'm called, what I've called you to, and where I'm taking you to, and who I'm going to be using you with. This is necessary. So we got to go through some of these different things, you know. Yeah, there's some ups. Yeah, there's some downs. But the thing is that it all works together for our good, you know, even if it's a lesson learned. But definitely, it really showed me the ugliness in my life and who I really was that I didn't tell anybody else about, right? Number two, it helped me to understand that all these experiences and these things that we go through, it lets you know that it is greater than yourself. The point of the suffering and the point of the going through is to, one, glorify God, two, be a blessing to other people. You don't know what your story and what your testimony for others will do for other people. Just because of the fact that we're sharing these various experiences about brokenness, about our various life struggles, and we all got them. Don't you sit here and say you don't, because yes, you do. We all got something we are processing through. Okay,
big time, yes, sir.
So the thing is that, yeah, most certainly it's the human experience, but where are you in God through that experience, and how can this be a blessing to other people? That's really gives me the framework and the understanding that no, it's not just about me. And then three, I'm big on accountability, and I'm big on being honest with oneself. I did find out about myself going through this experience that one, now that I look back, and a lot of times when we say hindsight is 2020, when I look back, I now see why this happened this way. No, I didn't like it, but it had to happen this way, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, because if I didn't go through that, you wouldn't be seeing the product that you see in now. I'm not sitting in the crazy house. I'm not in the jailhouse. I'm not at the courthouse. I'm not in the graveyard. I'm here to testify that I'm still here. I'm stronger, I'm wiser, and I'm better. Follow? So, yeah, that was all.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Tiara?
Yeah, for me, how I got out of that brokenness is I'm a person that does like to be isolated for a minute so I can reflect, because there is a lot that goes on through life and there's a lot of distractions. And I think that when I took that time to myself and really sat down, I also needed like a physical manifestation of exactly what I was feeling. So I journaled. And the journal doesn't have to be, oh, today I walked. It doesn't have to talk about what you did in that day, but sometimes it's like, I'm feeling sad today. What is going on? I don't know. And once I see it on paper, because I'm a visual person, when I see it on paper, I'm like, okay, Tiara, this is what you did wrong. Why would you take that situation that way? You should try this way. Kind of how Mr. Melsan had said, accountability. I'm very big on accountability. I think that once you see exactly what part you played, because everybody plays a part in how a situation turns out. Once you know exactly what part you played, you can then better yourself. Not saying that you can change anybody else's side or what they did, but as long as you can continue to grow you're going to understand how to navigate certain situations and actually understand how to navigate with other people who may be on different paths, because we're all on different journeys, we're all in different points in our lives. So I would say journaling, taking that accountability, and also that isolation, taking that time for yourself, and also going in a quiet place. You could take that time with God as well.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. What about you, Lady T?
What was the question?
How did you overcome?
Okay. Forgiveness was first. I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive others. So forgiveness was my first one. It was very hard because, really kind of learning how to forgive somebody that did you wrong, or you did, something wrong. You have to forgive yourself. It's a process. And it means that you're really kind of freeing yourself from the emotional weight, which is the weight of heaviness, which can be a burden, which, can be something that's not really good for you. But to get above that, once you get past the forgive part of whatever the situation is, you then want to release and let go of everything that's no longer serving you, and then set boundaries. And then, when you have the boundaries, you replace the old ways with new ways. So it was like, for me, I have gone through the forgiveness process like all the time. That's like something that we have to do regularly, because we're saying a lot of things that might offend somebody, or we shouldn't have said, or we did something that we shouldn't have done. So the point is that forgiveness is something we have to do all the time. But when you're really broken, to forgive the whole situation and know that there was a reason for you to go through that, and that is for a higher perspective and a higher enlightenment for your life, it takes time. So forgiveness was something very strong for me, but I think that it helped because it allowed me to open up to, God completely. When you are forgiving yourself and forgiving others, God is hearing you, knowing that you are truly trying to see the better part of where you could be in your life. Because we all make mistakes. Our mistakes need to be recognized through forgiveness. We are to forgive our brother 7 times, 77 times. So I think that's what it is, something like that. And we don't do that often. We don't do that at all, really. Sometimes we don't even forgive once in a day. So forgiveness is very important, because if we are able to let go of the pain of what we were going through, it's like our next step is letting go and releasing and allowing healing to come. But everybody else, everything they said, I completely agree with. I'm so on board with everything that everybody else. But forgiveness was something I have to do regularly.
I do want to say forgiveness was extremely hard for me. And that was, you are right. I forgot about that part, but it was hard. But yes, forgiveness, forgiving yourself, and I mean that I struggled with that very much at one point in time.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Chef Dennis.
But listen, mine's a little different. I gotta say this because Lady T,
here we go.
She always
here we go.
she always give me, so I gotta do some disclaimers.
Yeah, here we go. Wait, we gonna point it out. So go ahead.
What's this gonna be?
My thing was my parents, I was raised in a good home. My parents, grandparents. So I had a great foundation. My foundation was strictly about God. So I was in church all the time. But my parents was too strict. So, I wilded out. As soon as I got free, I was one of them wild out. So, but I say all that to say this, is that what kept me out of that dark space, that space that I was in my life, was the relationship that I had with God. At a young age, I used to be in church shouting and doing all this crazy stuff and just getting the Holy Spirit, thinking that was, church, right? But as I got older, I got a closer relationship with him. And I realized, it's important to have that. So here I am today, able to tell people about having a relationship because, of the foundation that I was, my parents, my grandparents, my family, was all rooted in church and in Christ. So here I am, today. And that's how I was able to because God had a calling on my life. I did some crazy, wild things in life, and as I look at my life, and I say there was things where things could have turned out ugly, but because God had a calling on my life, He allowed things to happen. And I can see those things and see how, God really had His hands on me. It covered me. I'm not saying that I'm special, but I'm saying that I realize and understand that God had a call on my life. So what kept me from that dark place is having that relationship with Christ. And that's how I overcame the dark cloud that was over my life, because I was walking down a dark path because I struggle with things. You know what I'm saying? Friendship, family, abandonment. I really didn't have too much about abandonment, but the friendship, like I couldn't hold on to friends because of, I'm being serious. I can see that now. Now I understand it, because of the calling on my life and because of those friends that I did and was connected to. They were going down a dark path. So God pulled them away from me. So my relationship with them didn't stay firm. It wasn't a strong connection. It was a connection, but God pulled them away. And then it's like they went on in their life. I went on my life doing what I was doing. But growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends because of the calling on my life. And I honestly see that now, because now I have a special circle that's around me, that we are all pouring into each other's life. See, I didn't know nothing about pouring into somebody's life. I was always taking something. I always had my hand out. Let me get this. Let me get that. I never was a giver. I didn't have the heart of giving. I didn't have compassion. I didn't have those things. Like I said, I was a taker. I took everything, and whatever I could take, I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was taking something off the table, taking some change off somebody, I just did all those things. I was mischief. And so, like I said, I say all those things to let you know that it was the relationship that I had with Christ at a young age. So it was definitely a seed sowed in me to that point. And so so how did I overcome it? That's how I overcame it. And for the ones who are grown and older that don't have a relationship, you still can get a relationship in this time and age. In this season, you still can get a relationship that can overcome the hurt and overcome the pain and the suffering. It's not easy. It's not easy to have that relationship. It's not easy to live for Christ. It's tough because we battle with the flesh and the spirit. So it's hard to do those things. But guess what? If you endure, you'll come out. If you endure, you'll, like Lady T said, Rodney, Tiara, and Mel, the transitional is prosperous. The transitional is something that's going to be greater than the suffering. You know what I'm saying? That's the overcoming part of it. So how did I overcome that darkness? Is my relationship with Christ. So I say that to say all of that, to say that I love this opportunity to say that. I never really get on this platform and talk about my testimony. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity. I'm gonna say about my testimony. I really don't talk about. I really don't, share this on this platform. But I got away from that, and I'm going to say this. And here was a great story to show you about my selfishness, because I was selfish. I didn't think about others. The smallest thing, I didn't think about others. Now I have a giving heart. Me and my dad, we had this back and forth thing. And I was high on my kite. I was getting everything. New marriage, car, everything, new house, everything, right? So my dad asked me to use my car, brand new car. I was like, yo, nah, Dad, you can't use my car. Just like that. No, let me think about it now. I say, yo, you can't use my car. Boom. 2 days later, I get into a car accident. And this is why I'm talking about my relationship with Christ. Now, I was maybe 20, I want to say 26. Fall asleep behind the wheel. I'm up. Now, I cannot breathe. I got my hand on my chest. Though I lift my hands, all 5 fingers off my chest. When I lift the 5th finger off my chest, I was able to breathe. There was nothing else that has happened to me. The only thing I had was a gash. So I say all that to say is that, that's how I came out of my darkness, how I came out. It's having that relationship, because guess what? That was the time I was supposed to be dead. Like, if you'd have saw my car, you guys are like, yo, you walked away from that? You know what I'm saying? That's was the root of me coming out, having that relationship with Christ. That's the moral of the story for me. You know, just having that relationship.
Okay. Chef Dennis, I'm glad that you mentioned foundation, because foundation is very important. If you don't know, I'm an inner city girl. I grew up with 3 uncles and my mother is the oldest. So this showing your emotions and your feelings, like, you know, when I used to be young, I used to cry all the darn time. So they be like, oh, stop being a crybaby. So I turned into a tough girl. And I realized I carried that in my darn relationship, because showing your emotion was weakness. And that's something that I'm trying to break now, to be more vulnerable. I don't always have to be tough. I can be, you know, vulnerable. So I'm working on that.
Okay,
Hey, that is a lot. That is a lot that they've been telling us for years. That you can't cry, that you can't do this, especially males. I know what you feel. I know exactly what you're talking about, because that's something we definitely talk about all the time on my podcast, is about the lie of you know, you got to be tough, this, that, and the other. It's called what is it called? Emotional intelligence. The thing about our society, our culture, is that we don't teach emotional intelligence. We don't teach how to deal with your emotions. We just tell you to, you know, suck it up, or go, you know, go do something, or pray it away. And don't get me wrong, prayer is great, but we really, and that's something that I preach all the time. And I just want to say my real quick spiel is that we need to be teaching our kids how to deal with their emotions. Just because your child is sad, you need to be able to talk to them about why they're sad, how to deal with that sadness, how to get through it. Because the problem with, I know for me, and most, I'm just going to speak for me. For me, is the only emotion I was allowed to show was anger. I wasn't allowed to show any other emotion but anger. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, when you hold all those emotions up, all it does is build up till the only emotion that you're able to show is anger. If you don't know how to express yourself when you're going through something, and express yourself so that people can understand and work through it, then what comes out is anger. People go out and do stupid things because of emotion. 9 times out of 10, every time you do something stupid, there is an emotion attached to it. So that's just my opinion.
Oh, so I have a question real quick. I like that you brought up emotional intelligence. That is the big phrase for, you know, having an understanding of our emotions. Did they teach that in high school?
No.
Okay, it's a college thing. That's what I'm thinking. Am I right, Tiara?
They teach it in college?
Yeah, because I kind of remember hearing no, emotional intelligence is not taught in college either.
That's a new thing. That's new.
Yeah.
That's a new terminology. That's
new.
It's new to us.
It's new to us. They probably should do it in college.
Rodney, listen. I got Rodney. I got 5 brothers, 5, and we all different. And guess what? Crying, we cried. We fell, yes. Guess what? But let me tell you something. The part that we all miss is if no one taught you, there is a time to cry versus a time not to cry. It's just that simple. It's a time to cry, and it's not a time to cry. If you fail, get up. You guess what? You fail. You're not gonna sit there and wow, oh, I fell, oh, I hurt, because guess what? That's mental. That's get up, wipe it off. Now keep on playing. But
exactly what you just explained is the opposite of emotional intelligence. What you just demonstrated is exactly what the problem is. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk.
But hold up, you saying to me that well, listen, if my son fell,
you fail. You fail. That's the reason he's crying. Why you're not asking him? Hold on, wait a second.
Are you okay?
He fell. and you're going to tell him to get up. You're not going to let him register the fact he just hurt himself. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still a process. You can't skip the process.
Okay, now
and this is a different show. We can have a different show. I'm ready for this one. Don't worry. I talk about it all the time. But go ahead.
Oh man, you want to say? Go ahead, man. Come on, my bad. Come on, John.
No, I'm not saying nothing. No, I'm scratching my nose.
Exactly what that
was something I had to learn. Now I can chime in real quick.
What you just broke down was exactly what's wrong with our culture. But go ahead.
Nah.
I agree with you, Rodney. I do.
No, I've seen both sides of the fence. The thing is, I know a lot of us kind of came up under that very strong and sometimes wrong approach where, like, I know that there are times like there's members in my family, younger members in my family who are a little bit more sensitive or a little bit more emotional. And it was almost like, again, finding that delicate balance, understanding how they communicate and understanding how I'm trying to communicate what needs to get across to them and finding that nice little seesaw sweet spot. So the thing is that, hey, I'm honoring and I'm understanding and I'm acknowledging where you are and how you process, but I'm also trying to bring you to a higher level and hold you accountable at the same time. So it's almost like they're just trying to find that delicate balance. But yeah, the things I see where you both are kind of coming from. I mean, I came up under that kind of mindset. All right, you fell down. All right, brush it off. All right, toughen up.
You're not even bleeding. You're not even bleeding. You're not even bleeding. Hey, Rodney, listen. Because
that could become.
I'll break it down when y'all ready. Go ahead. Hey, I'll let y'all finish though.
Hold up.
Because what you're doing is you're making my example. So go ahead.
Hey, Rodney, you're talking to a man that I know what it is to cry. So you can't tell me that that's not the case because I know what it is to cry. I cry. You can't tell me I'm weak.
I didn't say you weak.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm not talking
You're
about you.
You're the only person that put weakness and crying together. I never did that.
I'm not directing to you. I'm saying that you can't tell. I'm just not to you. It's not directly to you. I'm saying that no man could tell me because I am high functioning when I feel like I gotta cry because I listen to music and sometimes it touched my spirit. I'm crying because guess what? I start reflecting. See, and so some people don't understand that. I'm reflecting on, saying how I was brought up, how I overcame. So I'm reflecting. So now I'm crying. But guess what? I'm not gonna go go out to the club and I'm be sitting there and get all emotional and cry.
I didn't say nothing like that.
So what you talking about? Some people get like that. Some people get like that.
That wasn't a good example. Go to the club and cry. Oh, where that come from?
I said that because some people are emotional no matter what. Some men are very emotional.
And what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with what?
What's wrong with being emotional?
My goodness.
Yeah.
Going to the club and sitting there just talking about get all sad and sit there and
so let me ask you a question. If you went to the club and some dude was crying, would you think he was weak?
Yes.
Okay, well then there you go. You're not emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Go ahead, Tiara. We want to hear you.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I think Uncle Terrell, what you're saying. Okay, I do understand. Like Mr. Melson said, there is two sides of the fence. You're thinking about it from a standpoint of like, why you crying? You on the ground because that's what we're accustomed to. That's what we were brought into. However, emotional intelligence is just identifying that emotions can be a weakness, is a strength. It's not just a weakness to some people. Based off of your situation, yes, you don't need to cry. However, some people can only get through that situation by crying and understanding what that is. It's just you identifying the emotion and what it is. That's it.
And look, and watch this. And I am not saying that's not true, but that's why there is a season for sadness, and there is a place to when you if you go into, like I said, there is a place where you're gonna cry alone. If you feeling that way, not in public. Why you laughing? Not in the public.
Why does it have to be alone?
No.
Oh I lost my wife. Huh? Right.
Okay,
You ain't.
Okay. Let me break y'all up. Crying can be anger.
It's therapeutic.
No, it can be anger. Some people look. I know one person. If they start crying, everybody need to run. They about to hit the level. They about to blow up. It's about to be something about to go down. So everything is not crying is not always sensitive. It can be anger.
Okay, I get that. I receive that. It could be anger.
Very good point, Candy.
Yeah, it could be anger, vicious.
And women like Ralph Tresvant. We like sensitivity.
Oh Lord
It's about
Jesus!
sensitivity. It's just that the fact that if a kid falls and cries, and our first response is get up and shake it off, that's the wrong response. And that's just to be honest. First of all, you're talking to a child, a child that has just hurt themselves. Now, if you do it correctly, if that child falls again, he won't cry because he'll understand that he failed and that my leg is okay. Look, there's no blood. You have the discussion. He'll be able, if you teach the child right, they'll be able to process the whole thing themselves. But you can't expect a child to process what happened to them without training, without learning. And if we never teach our children how to process it, then guess what? They'll still be an adult and they're going to go off of what you told them. So now when a kid falls and actually hurts themselves or whatever the case may be, they're not telling anybody. They're not No, you know what happens? I don't feel good. I'm not going to the doctor because I was told to suck it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm having a heart attack. I'm not calling nobody. I'm gonna walk it off. You know what I'm saying? It's certain those things that are if you ingrain the wrong way to handle something into somebody as a child, when it becomes adult, that's still going to affect them then. You know what? I'm hurt and I'm not going to tell my wife. I'm not going to talk to her. I'm not going to be vulnerable to her because I've been taught that when I'm hurt, to do what? Be quiet. To go in the corner, to go in my room until I'm better. You know what I'm saying? None of these things are positive ways to deal with your emotions. And if you teach them that as a child, when they become an adult, they're still going to do the same thing. They're still going to do the same thing, and it's going to be more serious actions. They're going to hold it in, and then that's when you get the dude that goes to work and punches somebody in the face just because they said something smart to him or something like that. All that stuff lasts. So you have to teach a person how to deal with that emotion the correct way.
All right. Collection plate. We passed in the collection plate, y'all. That was beautiful.
I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here, Lady T. But
that was beautiful. I'm passing the collection plate to everybody.
It's called dad mentality for a reason because I'm trying to change the mentality of us as Black men. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to change that to be able to talk to your child opposed to chastise your child. To be able to, and don't get me wrong, I grew up in that. My coach, I got hit one day and I daggone split a rib. And my coach goes, "Are you hurt or are you injured? Because if you just hurt, get up and get in the next play." You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I was really hurt. And guess what? I didn't go to the doctor and this, that, and the other. And I still suffer from it now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's still things that we can do things. And I'm not saying that we can do things better as a culture. That's all I got to say. And I'm done. Let's move on. Let's go back to brokenness. I apologize.
All right.
Got here and I'm sorry.
That's my boy, y'all. There you go. That's the better way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? It's better.
No, it's the right way. You're going to give me my credit.
No, I'm not giving you no credit on that. Now.
The collection plate is in your shoulders right now, right on you.
Better, okay?
Tiara's going to get it. I can see her. I'm proud. You know what? I'm proud of you as a young Black woman. I mean, you're very intelligent in the things that you're saying, and you're light years away from me when I was in college because I was an idiot. So I'm gonna say that right now. So I'm proud of you, and I just met you. So
I'm very proud of you.
Thank
Tiara. Tiara is in her what year, T?
I am in my last year of law school.
Last year of law school.
Man.
Listen.
Congrats.
And she's on the road to victory. You know what I'm saying? I am so proud of her as an uncle. She's always been bright, always stayed focused. Keep the eye on the prize. She has stayed focused, and I've been there ever since she's been a little baby, and I'm so glad to see her grow and just, she not even, man. I don't even know what kind.
I don't think you had much to do with her greatness because your opinion, she would have been doing something else with your opinions. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Hey, well,
you got me riled up,
hey,
man.
Well, since you said that, everybody,
listen,
everybody gonna tell you. Listen, I'm big on protecting, so you better raise up out of here with all that.
Just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying too.
She ain't get her smartness from your side.
Oh well, hey, watch out now, watch out.
I said it. I'll answer you in the comments.
Listen,
I'm gonna leave y'all alone, man. Come on, man. Go back to what we was talking about. You got to end it on a good point. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, listen, it was a pleasure, to have Mel and Tiara and Mrs. Candy on here again as well. It's just always it's fun. It's great conversation. I'm glad to have you guys. And spread the word. I'm on. Me and Lady T are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 6:30 Eastern time. Listen, spread the word. Listen, we always have a great conversation. I'm excited to say that I have a new guest tomorrow. Is going to be exciting. Lady T, get your thinking cap ready, because I need you to get some questions out for this guest for tomorrow. And Ronnie, you as well. I'll send you guys some ideas. Get your thinking cap ready. And this month, we full, guys. We full. Seriously. Like, I've been really putting in that work. But it's not, like I said, it's not about me. I love to have Rodney on as well. Love that Lady T brings a great dynamic to the show. She don't even know. I got to learn. I got to teach her how to go to the comments, because somebody made a comment to you. They want to big you up. I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? They actually said they love hearing from you. So it was great. I don't know if it was a guy. I don't know, but it's definitely is always Rodney, get job on.
I ain't said nothing.
I heard that. But no,
be careful, Lady T.
Y'all like my big brothers. I swear, y'all really do act like it.
But
be careful.
Word. It's like I said, it's truly an honor to have you guys here to be a part of this because it's great. It's great. It's food for the soul, for the mind. We always try to change the perspective, the hearts of many, and we want to be encouraging to the world. The ones that have ears, let them hear. The ones that have eyes, let them see. And so we say that, because that's what we want. This message will get to the people that it needs to. It has grown tremendously. I have met a lot of people just doing this. Outside of it, I have also gathered some new friends. Rodney, his wife, his family, Santa, and her family. Listen, it's just great to be able to do that. And I will encourage you to find the right people to be a part of your life. It has to be like private and personal. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we can't trust everybody. And me and Candy, we always talk about loyalty. Loyalty is big. You got to be able to find people that you can actually trust and know that you can trust them. So, it was an honor to have you guys here. So we're going to close up shop, and Lady T and Rodney, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll thank you again, Mel, Tiara, and Candy for coming. You're always welcome. You have anything you want to talk about and we want to put it on the stage and talk about it, listen, this is the place. We do it every week. Consistency is everything. We're very transparent and we're all positive, nothing negative, as you can see. So, guys, I love you. I will see you guys next time. Peace.
All right.
Take care now.
All right.